My name is Alfred Williams, and I'm the host of Ancient Wisdom Academy. Some time ago, I recorded 10 videos on Africa's relationship to the Bible. Because of the positive response that I got from my colleagues, I talked with them about many aspects of this. I spoke to my colleagues, my theologians, scholars, friends, and I talked to them about what I was proposing. And I learned something. I learned that we who have grown up in the West, we don't really have a frame of reference to what I'm proposing. So I've decided to go back to the beginning and to try and show the big picture, so to speak, the forest instead of the trees. I started with the trees, and now I think I should go back and show you the big forest so that we can actually talk about it in a much more objective perspective. The ideas that we're going to propose here may be new to some, but the idea is to indeed suggest to you that this is something that we have to do. Our modern understanding of biblical interpretation is new. The way we understand the Bible is very new. Our modern understanding of the biblical text begins in the late 17th century, early 18th century onward. Let me put it another way. The way Moses, Isaiah, and Paul understood the Bible is not the same way that we understand the Bible. Our understanding of the Bible has gone through many changes. The many changes, there are about 17, if I understand. It's probably more, but I'm going to be conservative and say there's been about 17 different systems of biblical interpretation. Add to this people who claim inspiration and divine intervention, or the Holy Spirit's guiding of understanding the text. When you add that to it, then you have a very complex way that we have developed our product of how to understand the Bible. My attempt here is going to be to go back to the beginning and start with the very first way to understand the Bible. See, we can't start with Adam because Adam didn't leave us a book. We can't start with Abraham because Abraham didn't leave us anything either. Our beginning is actually Moses. We begin with Moses. Moses writes the first 5 books of the Bible, and it is Moses who tells us about Abraham, and it is Moses who tells us about Adam and Eve. So Moses is the place where I will begin. Moses is the original model for biblical interpretation. Moses' model begins around the 15th century BC, around 1450 BC. And that's a good conservative date. So the ideas for our understanding of biblical interpretation begins in the 18th century, but the break is earlier. The break is between Moses and the Age of Enlightenment, or the 18th century, where we get our understanding. The break is actually Alexander the Great. This is a very important principle to understand as we go forward. The Greeks, under Alexander from Macedonia in Europe, what will become Europe, they cross the ocean, and they conquer both Canaan, Palestine, Egypt, and in fact, the whole then known world. But it is important to understand that Alexander is bringing more than an army across the ocean. He's bringing also with him his perspective, his worldview, his thinking, his way of seeing the world, his lens. And this is the important part for understanding how things are going to change. Alexander comes about the 4th century BC. Moses, you'll remember, was about the 15th century BC. So, with this new perspective, we have now Europe being in control of the then known world. Okay, Alexander never went back to Greece. He loved Egypt. So what he did was he built his capital in Egypt, not in Macedonia, not in Athens or Sparta or any of those places. He loved Egypt. So he built his capital in Egypt, and he named his capital Alexandria. This is a crucial point because about a little less than 100 years later, the people of Alexandria built a library. The library is actually many of the ancient documents of Egypt that had been collecting for about thousands of years. And because they took those original ancient documents and put them into the Library of Alexandria, that is going to become a resource center. Then in the 4th century BC, you have a group of 70, actually it's about 73, you have a group of scholars who come down and they translate the first Bible. They call this Bible the 70 because 70 scholars worked on it. But it's also called the Septuagint. Now, the people who translated that Bible grew up in the Greek world. And so the shift from the ancient model to the Greek model is occurring now. The people of Alexandria, the scholars who translated the Bible, actually begin to make the shift from the original model, and they translate according to this new model or this Hellenistic worldview. Now, my job for this channel is to say, no, the Greek or Roman, the Greek and Roman, because the Romans will follow, the Greek and Romans, because of their worldview, they were never able to truly reconcile and adopt the original model of the Bible. They never did it. It just did not really work. And we will continue to see that whole perspective fail. So my job is to go back and to recapture, to rediscover, to articulate that original model. And here is going to be the challenge. The European model, the Greek model, the Greco-Roman model, the way we see the Bible has now become so entrenched in civilization, we can no longer see, or do we want to see, can we take on the challenge of going back and challenging the way the system has developed? My job is going to be to present that original model.